far right-wing extremist and ethno-nationalist strongman Benjamin Netanyahu has taken the state of Israel and the Jewish people down a very dark and insidious path that is eerily reminiscent of the way the Jewish people were treated during the Holocaust, as more images and video come out of the barbarity that is being leveled against the children of Gaza. I want you to listen to the absolute unmitigated gall of this individual as he calls the alleged war crimes against him fake news.
When the ICC investigates Israel for fake war crimes, this is pure anti-Semitism. The court established to prevent atrocities like the Nazi Holocaust against the Jewish people is now targeting the one state of the Jewish people. First, it outrageously claims that when Jews live in our homeland, this is a war crime. Second, it claims that when democratic Israel defends itself against terrorists who murder our children, rocket our cities, we're committing another war crime. Yet the ICC refuses to investigate brutal dictatorships like Iran and Syria, who commit horrific atrocities almost daily. As Prime Minister of Israel, I assure you, we will fight this perversion of justice with all our might.
The ICC is the International Criminal Court, and as Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu is personally liable for the war crimes that are being committed under his watch. I want you to listen to the fatuous nature of his arguments against the investigation by the International Criminal Court, which, by the way, I do want to commend them. The world is watching, and the world should watch without any regard to who is guilty of war crimes. There can't be favorites on the international stage where we allow them to get away with certain levels of barbarity. This is true for the United States as well, but the United States has not come to that conclusion. We hope that they will eventually come to the conclusion that there is no strategic or moral reason to stand behind the pure barbarity of Benjamin Netanyahu and his far right-wing government, who do not represent all of the Jewish people. In fact, they don't even represent all of the Israeli people, as many Israelis have called for the resignation of Benjamin Netanyahu. Let's listen one more time to how he is trying to posture himself in defense against claims of war crimes.
When the ICC investigates Israel for fake war crimes, this is pure anti-Semitism. The court established to prevent atrocities like the Nazi Holocaust against the Jewish people is now targeting the one state of the Jewish people.
Now, you have to forgive the many lenses through which I examine any issue. This is repulsive, most certainly, but I'm actually impressed by how many different fallacies he could squeeze into one brief sentence. He simultaneously attacked the source, trying to invalidate the legitimacy of the International Criminal Court by calling them anti-Semitic, which also doubles as an ad hominem attack. He also engages in a red herring to try to distract away from the matter at hand by bringing into the conversation Nazi Germany and bringing into the conversation the suffering of the Israeli, or rather the Jewish people, right? And then he also is using the whataboutisms. I mean, this is like a 4-for-1 piece of propaganda. I'm impressed with the propaganda level, but disgusted by the immorality. Let's listen to more.
First, it outrageously claims that when Jews live in our homeland, this is a war crime.
You have declared and labeled this as a war. This is also speaking to the very barbaric nature of the occupation, to suggest that the Palestinian people, the people of Gaza, have no right to the claims for the land and the territory for which Benjamin Netanyahu is occupying, right? So this is, again, a 2-for-1 to undermine the Palestinian people's right to exist on that land, as well as to say that there should be no possibility of a war crime if they're committing these acts on that land and that they are claiming. Continuing on.
Second, it claims that when democratic Israel defends itself against terrorists who murder our children, rocket our cities, we're committing another war crime.
This is an appeal to the masses, and is also dehumanizing, right? He's appealing to the masses that support liberal democracy globally to try to otherify all of the Palestinian people by labeling them all as terrorists. So this is, again, the layered propaganda that he has to go through to try to deflect from the fact that they are committing war crimes, and the ICC is officially investigating them.
Yet the ICC refuses to investigate brutal dictatorships like Iran and Syria, who commit horrific atrocities almost daily.
Yet another whataboutism. What about all the other war crimes? You should pay attention to those war crimes and not ours, says Benjamin Netanyahu.
As Prime Minister of Israel, I assure you, we will fight this perversion of justice with all our might.
What is a perversion of justice when your interpretation of justice itself is the perversion? We can answer that riddle a little bit later. The point is this: Benjamin Netanyahu, as prime minister, is personally responsible in this international criminal court proceeding, which adds to the many different legal woes that he is facing. In this way, he's a lot like Donald Trump. Benjamin Netanyahu is a lot like Donald Trump. Earlier this week, his fraud trial that has been going on for 3 years recommenced. They took a 2-month pause while he waged his war on Gaza. And now that trial has started back. Well, now he also has to worry about the International Criminal Court. He's a lot like Donald Trump in that way. In a way, he's a lot like Vladimir Putin in the sense that he is actively committing war crimes and expects to be able to get away with it on the world stage. And let us not forget the many different areas that the agenda of the far right movement in Israel has in direct conflict with the interest of the United States of America. There are portions of Benjamin Netanyahu's agenda that directly conflict with the strategic best interests of the United States. The strategic interests of Israel under Netanyahu have conflicted with those of the United States, particularly in areas of military strategy in the region, destabilizing the region when the United States wants stability, the diplomatic relationships, the problems with the Iranian nuclear deal. The United States wanted it. Israel did not. I mean, we can go on and on. There are too many conflicting interests for the United States to continue to blindly give support to this barbaric right-wing regime of an ethno-nationalist strongman by the name of Benjamin Netanyahu, and it's time to bring it to an end.